Hi everyone, I'm the Reverend Dr. Jenny Call, University Chaplain here at Hollins, and I'm so glad to join you virtually for this reunion. Reunion is one of my favorite things, and I always love the opportunity to engage with you, and so I'm glad that we can do it in this new format. In my 9 years here at Hollins, the things that have been most important to me have been creating sanctuary and sharing stories. When I think about spirituality, I think about how we're connected to the deepest, most truest part of ourselves, how we're connected to one another, and how we are connected to that greater thing outside of ourselves, whether that be our faith, our values, our purpose, the meaning that we find in life. And I think one of the greatest means of doing that is through telling stories. I see storytelling as a spiritual practice, and my work here at Hollins has been to create spaces for students and faculty and staff to share their stories. It's been one of my greatest joys. I think one of the amazing things about this community is everyone has their Hollins story, the story they like to share about what called them here. What was it about Hollins that resonated with them and made them feel at home? So I thought I would share my story first with you, and then I would share a little bit about a project that we did last semester to get our community sharing these stories. I remember very clearly the first time I stepped foot on campus. At the time, my oldest son, who is now 14, was a preschooler across the road at community school. And they always do their final performance of their preschool year at the chapel here at Hollins. So I remember parking in the east parking lot and walking across the bridge that goes towards the library and the chapel. And when I stepped right in front of the library and got the view of the chapel, I literally stopped in my steps. It took my breath away to see that sight, and something about it just called to me. And I knew that this was the place where I needed to be and wanted to be. And so I friended the chaplain, the person who was chaplain at the time, Jan Fuller, on Facebook. And just a couple weeks later, she announced that she was leaving to be chaplain at Elon University. So it really felt like one of those God moments where things just fell into place at the right time. And months later, I was here as chaplain myself. So I thought a lot about how we can share these stories, about what brought us to Hollins and what keeps us at Hollins and what keeps us coming back in your case. So last semester, I got a SOWL faculty development grant and worked with a wonderful group of people that we named the Hollins Imagining Collective. And we worked to create story sessions on our campus for people to share stories of what brought them here, what kept them here, and their hopes for Hollins. And the result of that, in part, you will see behind me on the timeline here in Ballator and upstairs Moody, our Hollins story. On these Post-it notes, we have fragments of people's stories sharing what connected them here at Hollins and what mark Hollins has left on their hearts and lives, and what mark those students and faculty and staff have left on Hollins. I think it's important to share these stories because it gives us a picture of who we've been as a community, who we are now, and who we hope to become together, and what our roles individually and collectively are in that. So I ask you now to reflect on similar questions that we've reflected on here on campus. What brought you to Hollins? And what brings you back now? What keeps you coming back to reunion each time? What is your favorite Hollins story? The one that you laugh with your friends, the things that you'll never forget, the memories that were created here. What marks has Hollins left on your life? In what ways has it changed you and transformed you, helped you to see in new ways and understand in deeper ways? What will your legacy be here at Hollins? What mark have you left on Hollins? And how will you continue to contribute to the work in the community here? And finally, What do you hope and dream of for Hollins? I hope that you'll take some time to reflect on these questions, and we would love to hear your answers. If you want to share on social media, on Instagram or Facebook, to share those on our channels, you can use the hashtag #MyHollins or #ImaginingHollins. I'd love to hear your stories of how Hollins has shaped you and how you will continue to shape Hollins of the future. Thanks so much. Take care.